Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode of Rippin' the Fence, we are going to be talking about everything we saw from COTA. But before we hop into the video, I just want to quickly remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it if you guys did that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. Matthew, my friend and co-host, is joining me as always, and we had a full weekend in COTA, triple header, Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. So Matthew, how are you feeling before we hop into everything?
Well, we just wrapped up an amazing weekend at a Circuit of the Americas. Personally, my favorite road course on the schedule. Um, um, quite some. Wasn't too much going on today, but quite an action-packed weekend from the lower series. But first and foremost, happy birthday to this man right here. He just celebrated his birthday this weekend. Um, just want to say that before we started, and yeah, let's get right into it.
I appreciate it. Just turned my Gordon year, number 24, so very excited to see what this year brings.
And
But
what
yeah, let's
what
quickly
number
talk about
one? What number one today?
24 did win today, so I guess it was meant to be. So yeah, that was good. But let's go ahead and hop into it. Quickly want to touch on the Truck and Xfinity race in the Truck Series. Corey Heim ended up getting the win there. Do want to shout out Mr. Connor Zilic. Hopefully I said that right. The 17-year-old who made his debut in the Truck Series had quite the eventful day. Started on the pole and then overshot turn one, had to pit for flat spotted tires, and it all kind of went downhill from there. He got spun out. He had to pit because of the track limits penalty, and seemed like what could go wrong did go wrong for him. He still finished fourth, so good run for him. In the Xfinity race, it was a very star-studded field. We had Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, AJ Allmendinger, and SVG in the field. And coming down to the end, Austin Hill was able to get his way into the lead by moving SVG out of the way on one of the restarts. And then on the final lap, SVG gets back to Austin Hill, uses the bumper, gets him out of the way. And here comes Kyle Larson. He comes sneaking through to get by both of them, and he's able to hang on and get the win over there. It's about time that 17 car got a win in the Xfinity Series. About darn time. It came at the expense of two guys racing it out, but you know, a win's a win. So finally, that 17 car was able to get a win in the Xfinity Series. Let's go ahead and hop into the Cup race, the main event. William Byron was on the pole. He set the pole in front of the Toyotas, who seemed very fast in practice and qualifying. Him, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, and Ross Chastain, they seemed to be the drivers up at the front of the field for most of the race. Um, Bo Wallace and Martin Truex Jr., they had to pit on lap one due to some damage. Corey LaJoie, he actually had a good qualifying run, but he ended up dropping. He lost like 20 spots on the first lap just to not get going. Ended up burning his tires up as well, I think. Christopher Bell stayed out and won the first stage. And then in stage two, Stenhouse, he spun Mr. Kobayashi, who was making his second Cup Series start. Denny Hamlin ended up staying out to get the track position and win the second stage to get the stage point there. And then also in the second stage, Michael McDowell, one of the road course ringers, ended up having a power steering issue, so he had to pit, went several laps down. Unfortunate break for him. And then in the third stage, there were no cautions at all. No cautions in the third stage. I think it was 25, 26, something like that amount of laps in the third stage. No cautions at all. Chase Elliott, he had to do a pass through for cutting the course. William Byron, he cycled to the lead after green flag pit stops. He passed Ross Chastain a little bit before green flag stops. And then I believe Alex Bowman was like one of the first ones to pit. And then William Byron and Ross Chastain pitted after that. And then the Toyotas, Bell, Reddick, and Gibbs, they pitted a little bit after them. So William Byron cycled to the front. Alex Bowman cycled up to second. Great run for him. He seems to always kind of run well here at COTA. So he cycled up to second. And Christopher Bell seemed to have the fastest car at this point in the race. But he came out of the pits in sixth, probably at least 10 seconds behind William Byron, if not even more than that. But he rallied through the field. He was able to eventually get up to second place. his teammate Ty Gibbs was actually holding him up. Ty Gibbs would not let him go. Um, but yeah, Ty Gibbs, or sorry, not Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell would make his way up to second place. Could not quite get to William Byron, so he was able to hold off and get the win. So congrats to William Byron. And also after the race, Justin Haley, he got a DQ for not meeting minimum weight. Tough break for that team because they were heading in the right direction, and now this is probably going to set them back a bit. So tough break for them. But let me quickly go over the top results with you guys real quick. As soon as I can pull them up, I just had them. Do. Here we go. So top results will be on the screen for you guys. Like I said, the Toyotas, they were pretty strong. Surprisingly, William Byron was able to hold them off. I don't know how, but Bell, Gibbs, Reddick all finishing in the top 5. Edgy Allmendinger, 6th place finish. Kyle Busch, 9th. He had a crazy day that I'll talk about in just a second. And Martin Truex Jr. rounds out the top 10. So let me quickly go over my post-race thoughts with you guys. Starting off with the man that won the race, William Byron. And I gotta admit, William Byron, he proved me wrong. Because, NASCAR, they posted a little stat on Instagram the other day with the top road course racers, and they put William Byron on that list. And I was like, I don't really know. I mean, I know William Byron won at Watkins Glen last year, but I wasn't sure if he was quite up there yet. But boy, did he prove me wrong. He started on the pole, led the most laps, won the race, seemed to have one of, if not the best cars all race long. So William Byron definitely proved me wrong. It's going to be interesting to see if he can stay a threat at these road course races throughout the rest of the season. I would not be surprised if he is, though. So wanted to shout out William Byron real quick. Christopher Bell, he did not make many friends today on the racetrack. He got involved with the incident with Kyle Larson. He hit the back of him in one of the corners and sent Larson spinning. And then later in the race, him and Kyle Busch got together going down into turn 1. Kyle Busch kind of went wide, and Bell drove a little bit deeper in the corner, and they made contact. Kyle Busch ended up spinning out, and Kyle Busch was not happy after the race either. He went over and talked to Christopher Bell, and was not happy. And honestly, my opinion on this situation, after looking at the replays and what they said to each other, I I get why Kyle Busch is upset, but at the same time, he did kind of cut down in front of Bell. I'm not saying it's Kyle Busch's fault, but Kyle Busch, like, he entered the corner wide and he came down, and Bell was trying to make the corner. And I guess Bell could have lifted, but he didn't think Kyle Busch was going to be there, so it's not like Bell wrecked him on purpose. I think it's just a racing incident. But I do understand why Kyle Busch is upset, but at the same time, he kind of opened the door for Christopher Bell right there. So Christopher Bell not making many friends on the racetrack today. And then last thing I quickly wanted to talk about was SVG. I know AJ Allmendinger finished in the top 10, but he was never really a threat in this race like I thought he could be in SVG as well, which proves that the Collie cars, they need to step up a little bit because they just did not have the speed that William Byron and the Toyotas had, and even Ross Chastain, two Chevy teammates, had today. So that's really all I want to say about them real quick. As for the race itself, I don't think there was one natural caution today. It was all for stage breaks. So, I mean, yeah, that's what you're going to get with these road courses. COTA has kind of been known for being spread out as a road course race, but it's kind of good to have something like that sometimes. I'll kind of talk more about that in my rating of the race. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say about the race. It was pretty smooth. Nothing too crazy happened. A little bit of tempers flaring, and one of the best cars won the race. So that's really all I have to say about it. Matthew, what do you have to say about what you saw from COTA today?
Well, so there's a lot to break down. First and foremost, I'm going to congratulate William Byron. He had a very dominant race today, the best car today. Um, I mean, this is his second win this season, the first multi-time winner of the season. And I feel like this team is looking like they're just coming straight off from last year. I mean, they had a great start to last year, and looks like they're having something similar this year with the Daytona 500, now Circuit Americas. and I'll be looking forward to see how this team continues to build the momentum throughout the season. Um, one manufacturer that really we did not see at all. I feel like today was Ford. I mean, Chevrolet was fast today. Toyota was also fast today, as we've seen the past couple of weeks. But Ford, man, we have no. I didn't recall seeing a Ford once today. It seems like, other than Brad Keselowski spinning multiple times, or um, man, I'm losing my words here today. Or Noah Gregson going around. But yeah, it looks like the only Ford that finished the top 10 today was Chris Buescher in eighth. Yeah, he was the only Ford that finished the top 10 today. And if I'm Ford, I am very concerned because Chevrolet has started off the season right off the bat very good. Toyota with their new body started off the season way better than people expected. And Ford's kind of been lacking behind. I mean, everyone's been saying how Ryan Blaney's pretty much been carrying the Ford banner this season, and yeah, I mean Ford's been kind of missing this beginning part of this season. I want to touch base with you what you just said about Shane Van Gisbergen and AJ Allmendinger. Yeah, AJ Allmendinger, he had a very good day. But keep in mind, AJ Allmendiger's car, that's basically what he's driving is a third calling car, which is an open car. And it's still impressive he was able to finish sixth. But just keep in mind with these open cars, they're not gonna put a lot of resources in that car as they would in their normal two car stable. So that's just my opinion on that. And for Shane Van Gisbergen, he did he was running top 10 most of the day, but unfortunately he did have a gear problem, which did not help his situation. That's why he finished 20th, because he had a gear problem. He was stuck in first gear, from what I've heard, and you're not really gonna recover well from that. So plus he has a speeding penalty as well. So I mean, not every road course race is gonna go well for him, but still top 20. He was running top 10 most of the day, so still a good day for him. Man, Kobayashi and the third 2311 car, he had himself a rough day today by once again getting wrecked by Ricky Stenhouse. Which, if you remember last year, the Indy Road Course race, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. also wrecked him during that race. So uh, I don't know what's up with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and him. I don't know what's the beef here, but and then he also got spun by Josh Berry, did not did not look accidental in my opinion from the replay. I mean, it looked like Josh Berry just hooked him going into that long straightaway. So yeah, quite a rough day for him, but I mean that's not his specialty. He doesn't really drive these big stock cars that well. All right, now on to Christopher Bell, who finished second today. He had himself quite an interesting day, let's just say the least. First and foremost, he did he definitely played the strategy real well. If only he had a couple more laps, he probably would have gone to him. But still, he came back from 15 seconds from when he made that pit stop to almost right to Willie Myers' bumper. Still very impressive. But we gotta talk about these two incidents because he was basically messing around with both Kyles today. First and foremost, he on old tires, he decides to ram into Kyle Larson going into that long straightaway. And then, I'm sorry, Jimmy, I disagree with you on this one. It just looked like Christopher Bell just sent it in there and spun Kyle Busch out. I'm sorry. I looked at the replay. It looked like Christopher Bell just sent his car in there. So, I mean, I mean, of course, Christopher Bell, he's very talented. He's made the championship for both years, but kind of gotta use some sense there. That's just my opinion. With the whole thing after the race, I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. Christopher Bell is where he is because of Kyle Busch. So I wouldn't think anything much would happen after that. I think they'll get that sorted out. I don't think it's really of a big deal. I mean, Kyle Busch still finished top 10, so which, hey, I gotta say, finally something good happened this weekend with this team. I didn't have anything else to complain besides that spin, so hey, I'll take it. Top 10 after what has been an absolute nightmare of a few weeks has been for me, so I'll take it. So yeah, overall, I thought this was a decent race. William Byron was the best car, like I said. Congrats to him. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
Also, I want to quickly touch on the whole track limits thing. I'm not saying this as a Chase Elliott fan because yes, I know he got penalized for it, but
Hmm.
in general, there were a bunch of there weren't that many in the Cup Series today. There were like under 10. I know a few drivers got it, um, but like I think they just need to tweak this somehow in the future because Chase Elliott did just get loose going through that first turn and he just lost control and accidentally went through the S's like that. I think they need to somehow put kind of like a curb right there somehow, not like the turtles at the Roval, but some kind of curb that would slow the car down, or they need to change the penalty to like in iRacing you have to let up for a sec for like 5 seconds or something, or do a stop and go or something like that. Because I feel like a pit road penalty is a bit too much, especially like I'm pretty sure in the Xfinity race I think it was Allmendinger or something. He kind of got forced over there, and he still had to do a penalty, and he got kind of forced out there. So I think NASCAR needs to look at it a little bit. I mean, they were consistent about it throughout the weekend. They called it for pretty much every situation that happened, which is a good thing. But I think they just need to tweak that somehow to make it a little bit more fair, because I think a pit road penalty is a little bit too much. But anyways, just wanted to quickly throw that out there. Forgot about that in my first little thoughts there. But we're going to go ahead and finish this video out with rating the race and then giving our favorite paint scheme of the race. For rating the race, I think I'm just going to give this race, I'll give it a solid 6 out of 10. Nothing too crazy, just a standard road course race. I love COTA. We both want to try and go there sometime in the future. And after driving it on iRacing this week, I have definitely gained a lot of respect for the drivers because it is definitely a hard track, but it is also fun at the same time once you can kind of figure it out. So I'm just gonna give it a 6 out of 10. And then my favorite paint scheme of the race is it's gonna be a standard paint scheme this week. It's gonna be Ross Chastain's WWX or Worldwide Express Chevrolet, the blue car. I love that baby blue on that thing. So that's gonna be my favorite paint scheme. Matthew, what are you going to rate the race? And then what was your favorite paint scheme from the race as well?
I think I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 as well. I thought this was a very decent race. Of course, it wasn't anything, the most memorable road course race in the world. And when I rank these road course races, I have to be careful because I don't want to compare it to the rest of the races that happened this season because the road course racing is just way different than all the other types of tracks we've been to. And of course, I mean, it's not going to be like super speedway racing where everyone's all together. It's not going to be like short track racing. I mean, road course racing is just naturally going to be a lot of spread out racing. That's just how it is. And as far as road course racing goes, I think this was just a very decent race. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. And of course, I tried on iRacing. I was so bad at that. I was so slow, but it is fun. It is fun. In my opinion, Circuit Americas is my favorite road course on the schedule, just because of how unique this road course is, with the elevation changes, the sharp corners. Yeah. And as for my paint scheme of the race, I gotta go with Shane Van Gisbergen's WeatherTech car. I love this paint scheme with the red, white, and blue with the bright red chrome numbers. Um, I always, of course, they runs this scheme in the Xfinity series. We saw Zane Smith run it and the Daytona 500, but I do love this paint scheme a lot. So, yeah.
And also, one more thing, I want to applaud NASCAR for something they did this week, and that was to change the restart zone. They changed it so it was just off of turn 20, just a little bit. So that gave the drivers time to accelerate, and then there were still some drivers wrapping around turn 20, so that didn't prevent drivers from sending it 6, 7, 8, 9 wide into turn 1. It kind of separated the first few rows from the rest of the pack. Obviously, we still saw some wrecks in turn 1 because that is a trouble spot, but do just want to applaud NASCAR on that restart zone change. I think that was a good decision on their part. As for just any wrapping thoughts up real quick, I have a mini rant to finish this video up, and it's about Chase Elliott and his comments that he made on the Dale Jr. download about the Netflix series. Dale Jr. asked him if he would participate in it. Chase said that he hasn't watched it yet, but he basically said that if it isn't going to help him go fast, win races, win championships, he's probably not going to be a part of it. And, a lot of people are slandering him for it. And yes, I get it. He's the most popular driver. He would probably make that series explode even more and reach more people. But at the same time, I feel like this is because he's the most popular driver. He doesn't want to do this just because he already has to focus on that in general, being the most popular driver and being pleasing to the fans and all that, and then letting people inside of his life would just escalate that even more. And he's just not that kind of guy in general. He's a very private guy. I'm surprised he even went on Dale Jr.'s show and opened up about his injury and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to spoil it, so if you guys want to go listen to it, go do that. And I feel like he also did a good job explaining how the tire situation worked at Bristol. So he has a lot more knowledge than I thought about racing, and that's just not his kind of personality to just let people inside of his life like that. He's very shut off. He literally still lives in Georgia, like near his family. He doesn't live in the Charlotte area, so he's very private. So I have to respect that, and I think other people should as well. That's just my mini rant before we finish this video up. But anyways, Matthew, do you have any other closing thoughts or rants or anything before we finish this video up?
Well, I will follow up on what you were just saying about the Dale Jr. download thing because we were talking about this back and forth. I mean, this is the thing I've been saying for the longest time is that Chase Elliott's always been known as someone that doesn't really like the attention. He doesn't want to be around a lot of people. He doesn't want to, he doesn't really like talking a lot, to be honest. And hey, look, that's okay. You can he can do whatever he wants. But I mean, that's the thing I've been saying. And look, of course, you got these people um, that try to make him the next Steel Junior, and I hate to break it to you, that's not gonna happen. Yes, he may have the famous last name, but there's other drivers in the field that have that same thing as well. And he's not Dale Jr., okay? He's just not Dale Jr. Look, Dale Jr. He was always known for being the party guy. Basically, he's a guy that he always wanted the more outspoken people out there. I mean, he never really was a quiet guy per se. He had that rock star mentality to it, and Chase Elliott's just not that guy. And I just wish Chase Elliott would just come out there and say, "Hey, I don't want all this attention. Please let me do my job." Like, seriously, Chase Elliott, I don't blame you one bit if you put out an Instagram post, like a minute clip, and just say that. And maybe you'll get all these people off your back, and you can do whatever you want. You don't have to have all that pressure anymore. So yeah. Of course, when I say I don't get the popularity, I get called a hater, even though that's just how Chase Elliott is. He doesn't really like all the attention. So Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I can imagine that he probably already puts up with enough being the most popular driver. The fans are probably absolutely crazy and overwhelming, and then having a crew come and film your life outside of that would just add to it, in my opinion. So definitely understand where he's coming from. As a Chase Elliott fan, obviously I would love for him to be part of the show, but even if it's just a little bit, like it doesn't have to be a full blown. It doesn't have to be the Denny Hamlin show on Netflix like the first season was. But if he could somehow just get like one episode in there where he's at the track, that would be cool. But if not, completely understand. Hopefully, they start filming a second season of that soon, though, because we definitely need that. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Richmond is next week. I will be at the track. Not sure if I'm going to be able to do a vlog or not, because I'm going to be doing some other stuff at the track, but I'll try my best. But yeah, another short track next week. Thank you guys for watching this video, and we will see you guys next time.